Just Buggin.
Good morning, all you VW lovers out there. This is G-Man at Just Buggin. We got a 74 Super Beetle extravaganza going on today. I'm gonna expose the floors in there, remove the seats out. There's all kinds of welding and bolting down of the seats. I don't even know what's going on under there until I get it all cleared out. But we've got another 74 Super Beetle that came in yesterday. Said it was popping. I drove it around. I hadn't gotten it to do it yet, but it does seem like the points probably have too large of a gap, and the valves need adjusted. It basically needs a refresh.
So what we got here?
What do we got here? I look like Dee Snider from Twisted Sister. Look at my hair. It must be 40-mile-an-hour winds out there. We have a 1974 Super Beetle, which was my very first car that I learned how to drive a stick. And it doesn't sound too bad. It sounds to me like it's got a valve that's too tight. When it's too tight, it doesn't open when it's supposed to, and it'll pop. They're hearing popping. But then again, if you have a worn lobe and the push rod doesn't come up and open the valve, you're gonna get popping too. So we're gonna figure that out either tomorrow or Saturday. Yeah. Just bugging. I'm gonna do a compression test now and see what we've got. I've already got my exciter wire hooked up to the starter, my positive wire on my switch hooked up to the coil, and my positive wire on the battery. And car should be neutral. Hope so. Yeah. All right, let me get a plug out and we'll get started on compression test. Get the plug out. Boy, it is running rich, but it is sparking very rich. Maybe you all notice I've got a new compression gauge here. Much easier to use on these VWs. Look at that. 150 on number 2.
Nice.
That's sweet. Oh, right there. And I've got number 1 plug out, and they figure it looks really new plugs. The wires don't look new, but yeah, of course we still have an issue of it burning rich, and this one doesn't look as though it's firing as well. Huh. Holy cow, this is good so far, at least for compression, but it have some intake leaks and of course the valve adjustment. Right, we're on number 4 cylinder. It's a lot easier to get this new compression gauge in there now. Let's see what we've got. We've got 145. Not bad. That's probably in a valve adjustment. Pretty much probably going to be 150 across the board, which I'll do after I do a valve adjustment. Part of the tuning on an engine stand, which I have an engine stand now for starting. Just got brought to me yesterday. All right, we're on number 3. Let's see what we get here. 140. I'll pay close attention to what's over there, but I'm seeing just a bunch of really rich plugs, and I'm pretty sure there's probably going to be a larger gap in the points. So, but it is in the condition to allow for a refresh. It doesn't feel like it has a lot of excessive in play on it, but I'll put a dial indicator on that and get it out. And so this one qualifies for a refresh. I think we're going to pull the motor today. All right, guys, we're back working on the 74 Super Beetle. We passed the compression test, and we had a time getting this crazy exhaust out of it. It wouldn't clear the apron. Well, hey, Kyle.
I'm Kyle. Who the WT douche?
I'm Kyle. You're Kyle?
Yeah.
Prove it.
All right.
Say hi to all the bug lovers out there. This is Kyle. He's going to be working with us here at Just Buggin. Now that we got the exhaust out of the way, we don't waste your time with us trying to deal with that under the car. So we're going to pull the motor out now. Here we get. God. Damn! Studs are long. Why the f is this car like this? We're almost out, but god damn. I mean, I don't want to get this so tied up in here. We had quite a difficult time, as you saw in the video. We shut it off because we didn't want to have any problems and drop the motor or something. But it was quite unusually very difficult to remove the motor. I mean, you got it completely up against this. The heat risers were hitting here, and you still had 1/4 inch of the stud in the transmission. I mean, we fought to get it out. And we actually had to take the exhaust off while it was in the car, and that wasn't easy, and it still didn't make a difference. Because before, you couldn't even get it here. The heat riser's up against here. I know the pulley hits here on your way down, big deal. But the exhaust was getting trapped underneath the rear apron. So we took the exhaust off, and then the heat riser hits right here. And you can see whoever fought it to get it in, it's all tore up right where the heat riser was hitting. So you pay hell getting this back in here. And the motor is going to be completely detailed, and you're going to fight to get it in here, and you're going to mess some things up. But really, you can't go there because you got some serious issues you got to deal with. Well, the more and more I looked at it, the car has been hit from the rear. And I don't know if you can see it, but see, they're all buckled. And somebody beat it all back out. Saw some other signs. See, it's but this is tracking for the seal or channel, whichever one you want to call it. It's messed up here. And there's a lot of filler in it. You can see where somebody beat a hammer out. They hammered this back into shape. So I took some measurements, and I replaced the rear apron on that one. I replaced the rear apron on that one, and I have another one in the back to base it off of because it's original. But all my measurements show up perfectly on that because I based it off the original one, and perfectly on that one because I based it off the original one. Well, I took measurements from the bottom of this channel to the front of the trans, and I got an additional 1/4 inch. So the tranny is a 1/4 inch closer to the rear apron. Then I measured the bolt holes to the edge of the tracking of the channel, right at the outer edge of it, and I got 18, and I got 18 on this side. Then I measured that one over there. I've added the tranny is closer to the firewall, a 1/2 inch, so that gives me a 1/2 inch more room, and the bolt holes are 1 inch further than this car is, so that gives me 1 1/4 inches of extra room in that car over there versus this one. So now I seem to understand it, but I would have thought I would have seen more damage in here to tell me that, but you know, somebody beat it back into shape, and I can see remnants of it. So it looks to me like it was hit from the right hand side. So at the rear, and you can see the bumpers buckled over, but then it just could be loose. But you see all this going on under here, and there's a lot of filler, and this is really out of shape. So something has occurred, and I still want to get underneath there and look at the front tranny mount, because it appears to be a lot more distance on the top versus the bottom. And I gotta look and investigate it a little bit further, but something's seriously going on with this car. So we'll get back on that. But I found some other issues. I'm still checking the brakes because I actually brought that up to test drove it before I brought it over here to do a compression test, and the brakes just went to the floor. So I can see I got a weeping wheel cylinder over here, so that's bad. And shoe's a little saturated. So the wheel cylinder. Oh, and also that bearing's going bad, so it needs new wheel cylinders, brakes, and axle bearing. Oh, let me put my nut back over here. Sometimes you feel like a nut, and sometimes you don't.
Well, sometimes you feel like a nut, and sometimes you don't, and I don't.
Then I got over to this to inspect the brakes. Now this wheel cylinder is definitely bad, but not the biggest problem is, look at the bearing. You think that's bad? There's the inner race of the bearing. So it needs both axle bearings, wheel bearings, whatever you want to call it, and wheel cylinders, new seals, kit, and new brakes. And on another issue, the intake manifold, the heat risers are plugged. So I made this a long time ago, just like a cable, and I spread the cable out at the end and wrapped it with electric tape so it wouldn't keep on fraying. And put my glove on, and I can usually clear it out like this and keep blowing it and digging in. It's already starting to free up, so I'm going to continue on with that. Kyle should be in here around 10 o'clock this morning, and we're going to move on with these projects. The trike, my 72, and possibly a little bit on the Orange Crush. That should do it. See if we can make a mess. There we go. Problem solved. So if you ever want to clear one of those out, this is the way. See? You just take that bad boy down in there, give it a minute to get around the bend. There you go. Blow it out one more time. We should be done. There you go. Much better. That'll work. And let's just start a little easier on a cold morning. Alright, that's for clearing your heat risers. Take one. Here's the 10s for the white 74, the 74 Super Beetle. Look at that, it's the color they chose. They want the car to be eventually a matte black paint job on the outside with this on the inside. And I got all the other parts painted. Except this one, I like to paint this one with this being black with the tube black, and that's silver, and then the tower, which I call it, silver. See the gap, how far that is from the rear apron. So, and all the holes in it, or somebody has beat the hell out of this and bent it back into shape, but not quite. And I can tell that there's no seam here. There's usually a seam right there where this rear apron is connected here, and there's not one there. So I guarantee you this is a lot of filler right here, because it appears to me, as low as the car is that the reason this is separated out is it hit right here and pushed this up, and then somebody banged it up, brought it back up or whatever. You can see it's all beefed up here, and then you can see the channeling right here is all bent to hell. See, it's all crinkled all the way around. Somebody has beaten this back into shape, but not into shape because it's incorrect. It's missing a 1.25 inches space inside, so the engine hits here before it ever comes out. So we're going to deal with that and see where we're going to go. I have two examples of rear aprons I've replaced, and they match the original one back there in the backyard, so I know how to put them in the way they're supposed to be. Hopefully I'll be doing that. All right, this is G-Man. Keep them bugs running. We'll get back with you next time on the 74 Super Beetle to see where we're at.
Hey guys, it's Dalton. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more videos in the future about this 1974 Super Beetle. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and have a Just Buggin every day. Thanks for watching.